I don't have an intro for this. I just started it. I don't really know what to say. I don't know if this is just going to be like a video or a podcast I put out. You can consider this your WrestleMania review or not, because I'm not going into great detail.
No.
I wanted to do this right after all of this happened. Like, in all honesty, if we're being honest, I wanted right after what happened at night 2, the end of night 2. I kind of just wanted to come in here and record, but I had it was too raw. I was just in shock. Like you said, I sat up an hour after it and just was like, they really did. They really still booked Roman to win. Like, they convinced me. I told myself at the very beginning, once Cody won the Royal Rumble, if you listen to the pod, you know, I wasn't sure at all about Cody winning it. But he convinced me, the story convinced me that maybe it was time. And I think that's exactly what you want. You're supposed to fall hook and line and sinker for the bill. So they did, kudos to them. Mm-hmm. But the way they executed it, the way everything worked out, I'll get into more of that in a minute. I just want to play what Triple H said about Cody Rhodes. Now, this ain't necessarily his explanation. I know everyone has already heard what he said about finishing the story, his explanation about, why he basically went the opposite from where people would assume the finish of this story would be. But I do want to play his thoughts on Cody Rhodes. And I just want you to understand that, especially right after what just happened, we don't want to hear this. Nobody want to hear this, Triple H. I don't care. Nobody wants to hear this.
Cody, so proud of him as a performer.
Not proud enough.
The hardest thing in the world to do is walk away from your comfort zone, to walk away from something you're doing, no matter how difficult that environment you're in is or anything, to go with what you're familiar with and walk away into an unknown environment is one of the most difficult things you'll ever do in your life. And he did that, gambled on himself in the biggest way possible and succeeded at it. But that wasn't his goal. And when he knew when the time was right, that all those things that he was doing, all the gambling, all the moments that he was creating, were to get back to what he really wanted, which was to be
broke their throne and get back there. Okay.
And be the WWE champion, right? And to fulfill
that's what he wanted. Y'all said
his legacy.
That's
what he feels is his legacy.
Right, to some degree.
His birthright.
To do what his dad didn't, all those things.
Triple H don't believe in it.
To see that journey, to see him go through all those things, as incredibly strong. It's an incredibly tough journey, an incredibly strong person to do that. And to do that in this business is really difficult, and he's done it. And tonight, if anything, he proved and earned his place.
So he didn't win the title.
So that means it meant nothing.
And I really mean that. As a performer, as an athlete, as a businessman, as everything else, as a man.
As a man.
In this business tonight. For Cody.
He earned his place in the business with that performance. And you know what? It was a great performance. It was a legendary, classic type of match performance. It had the drama. The crowd was on their feet. And I think everyone knows that this was a legendary performance to that standard, because that's the reason why everyone was so in shock. And so some people were very disappointed. You know what I mean? Because of how they decided to do that. Because it just felt like you will never get anyone this over in this position against Roman.
But
to do the third crossroads the same way he did to Seth Rollins.
You know how Vince and Hunter is, though. You can't tell them they'll never do something again.
Right. And again, maybe they have the track record where it's like, 100% people and I think they really know that we love wrestling. And they kind of bet on it. So it's like, no, but they're going to come back and watch anyway, so it's fine. And you're right. And I'm not trying to say that this is going to kill WWE. I'm never coming out here and be that dramatic about a decision that they made. But let's just be honest. It's hard. It's going to be very, very hard. It's like people brought up multiple great examples, like, to go to New Japan, like when Naito finally won the title in 2020, but he didn't win it when everyone thought he should, either a year before or a couple years before that. And it was just like, I love that moment, but I love Naito. But if other people who watched it, they probably didn't feel nowhere near as much as they would have felt if he would have beat Okada the very first time. Mm-hmm. Or, the same thing that happened, think about it this way. If Bryan Danielson beat Kofi, Seriously, if Bryan Danielson would have won at WrestleMania off that Kofi Mania story, after all the hype, everyone was so into it. Mm-hmm. It was the perfect moment made to happen.
That's a good comparison.
And then Bryan wins.
That's a good
Imagine how you feel. You know?
Awful.
Exactly.
Also, with the tone of his voice, it sounds a little condescending coming from Triple H, saying that he's proud of somebody, but because we've heard him talk about his talent in NXT, and when they do great things, like with Rhea, like it just feels different when he talks about them, as opposed to him saying he's proud of Cody for being able to go out there and tough it out on his own, make something of himself, and then come back.
Yeah, and again, it's not so much as, like I said, I don't really take too much into what he just said as far as like being dismissive to Cody, because again, it's not
dismissive.
It's not anything wrong or anything about it, because even that, it's just like, all right, so, I don't expect him to look at Cody like he look at talent he brought up from the beginning. So I get that, but it's just more so just the whole type of he earned his way. He earned tonight proved that he's this and that, and it's just like. Did you not hear that crowd? Did you not see all the merch he's been selling? He's been proving since he's returned that he deserves to be at the top of this business, if you see what I'm trying to say. You know, the booking of him. And again, like I said, I'm of two minds. I do understand what some people are saying. This spot was meant for The Rock. Roman was going to beat The Rock. Therefore, maybe Cody was. My only thing is like we are thin as hell already with people, with baby faces who have fought Roman Reigns. And or who are next to fight Roman Reigns. We're guaranteed the longer this run go to get some rematches right now at this point. Either Drew is gonna get another shot. So, and I'm not trying to say these all gonna be horrible, but I'm just saying we're at the end of the line. So why not pull the trigger and make a huge legend and again, like Bully Ray said, Cody won. He felt like Cody won whether he win or lose just because of how it felt. The star power, I'm assuming, and maybe just the moment of giving the belt to John Huber's son and all of that, -1, to do that on WrestleMania's platform and all of that. Like, I get it. It was a win, especially after everything he had been through in his first WrestleMania main event. I get it, but you can't tell me the thing that would have put a perfect bow on all of this was not Cody walking out as champion. Like, it would have been perfect. And the thing is, I used that clip to point out, it's just like, that was right after. That was the press conference. I just want to let everybody. I was up and still that no one want to hit it. It's only got like 5,000 likes after a whole entire night. Even though he said nice things you would probably want to hear if you're a fan of Cody, but you don't want to hear that from Triple H after that decision. After that, come on.
Also, even if this was meant for The Rock, like once you knew you didn't have The Rock, plans can change. You don't have to stick to the plan that you had because it fell through. Plans can change. Like, it's definitely malleable.
And execution. The execution of it was a little lazy to me. Just a little lazy. I'm going to be honest with you. They had the perfect finish going right into the crossroads. And then when you get into the crossroads and you kind of see, of course, it's not Cody's or anyone's fault that they had to kind of wait on Solo to creep back in, because I kind of figured Solo would. It's just, again, I just thought it was lazy. Like, Solo was the X factor in the Drew McIntyre match, but at least he was just debuting. Cody knows about Solo. He knows he's outnumbered 3-4, if you see what I'm trying to say. He knows that. But they still, other than, now again, he got tossed, so maybe you're just like, yeah, he's done, but he just comes right back. So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, all it take was a rough bump, and then getting Solo out of here was for nothing.
Like, you have to plan.
So it's just, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I agree. It's just like, it's shady. I know we can set up Solo and Cody down the line, or what. I'm pretty sure that's probably what they're finna do next, and that's fine. It's just, again, don't come out on these next few shows and you're like, Roman his schedule is not gonna change. I'm not expecting to see Roman more, but it's just now we're gonna just continue to ride the way. Like, are you sure that the next few chapters of this bloodline, or the next chapter or whatever, this bloodline story is strong enough to to pay us back for what just happened right there? Because again, I don't care who you insert. You can insert Bobby Lashley, you can insert any of these guys. It's still gonna be like, where's that moment? Let's say Seth, or let's say one of these other guys dethrone Roman. You're always in the back of your mind gonna wonder, was that dethronement, when he did it, was that as special as it would have been if Cody would have did it there at WrestleMania 39 in the main event.
Right, and especially when
in
WWE,
Hollywood.
especially when they told us all this extra information we didn't need, like his nickname was Hollywood. Just shut up. Getting me way too invested in this. But especially when in WWE at WrestleMania, time and time again, they tell us how the moment is what's important. Like the moment is what's special for these superstars, for the fans, yada yada yada.
And what would have been a bigger moment than that?
Exactly.